Alright, here I am for the political encompassing test. Let's see. The test. Before taking the test, please note that this isn't a survey. These aren't questions, they're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irrate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme and some are moderate. That's how we can show you whether you lean towards extremism or modernism on the compass. Your response should not be overthought. Some of these are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, meaning measuring the feelings and prejudices rather than determine the opinions on policy. Just a few propositions with concerning no less how you see the country and see the world. Okay, if economic globalism is inevitable, it should primarily serve the humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I'd agree strongly with that. We don't need companies ruling the world. I'd always support my country whether it was right or not. I'd disagree. I should be able to criticize us if we do go wrong. No one chooses the country of birth, so his foolish should be proud of it. My country of origin. I mean, I personally didn't choose it myself, but I do agree, but not strongly. Either, I can easily admit that there are problems, but even so, our race may... Compared to other races, genetically anything can be right. Disagree, not strongly, but he'll betray me later. Is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Not the fusion of information and entertainment itself, but the fact that it's done poorly nowadays. I'd agree. Disagree. Next page. Okay. Now the economy. Let's talk attitudes here. Or not the... whatever that is index. Strongly agree. You can definitely see it. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. No. These go hand in hand. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Disagree. You should... disagree to some extent, because, if anything... well... agree, really, but not... they may eventually, anyway. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. It's the idea, I'm pretty sure you have to earn it. The freer the market, the freer the people, definitely. Keep those monopolies away from me. It's a sad reflection that our society that something as basic as drinking water is now bottled, branded, consumed product. And most of these are kind of complicated. I'd disagree, not strongly, but it's regrettable that many impersonal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I'd agree. let's gut the lottery. If you're talking about people that use the stock market to give money to a company, essentially, as a part of, and buying a part of that company, that's essentially what investing is. And shouldn't be commodity to be bought or sold. Disagree, but not strongly. People that protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Disagree. Up the risk. The only social responsibility of a company is to deliver a profit to its shareholders. I happen to also work, so there is that. And this could be taken so many ways, as in to say it this way: if my company, you personally, the only reasonable disagree, but not strongly. The rich are too highly taxed. I disagree. Not strongly. Penalize businesses that mislead the punishment. Strongly agree. That's how we get snake oilers. Those salesmen. We don't need that again. Disagree. Those who are the ability to pay should have the access to higher standards of medical care. Disagree, but not strongly. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator manipulations. Again, snake oil salesman. But in a more extreme way this time. Come on, next page. Now a look of some of your personal social values. Abortion when the woman is not, life is not threatened, should always be legal. All authority should be questioned. Absolutely. I don't. Threaten. Disagree. Even if it should be legal, it should be kind of frowned upon. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That's all revenge. Basically, that's revenge. That's justice. Essentially, he's saying it this way. You could say bounty hunting. I disagree. Essentially, taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theater. I agree, but not strongly. The main problem is schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Strongly agree. You can't have it mandatory. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us. Different sorts of people should keep to their own. That's that is segregation at its most blatant. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I'd agree, but not strongly. Sometimes punishment is necessary, but it's not the best at all times. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. It's natural for the humans to keep secrets from each other anyway. Witness protection agencies also. But still, possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. No, but it's It depends. I don't know. I just disagree, not strongly. The prime function of the school should be to equip the future ready to find jobs. Agree. People will still strongly disagree. That's eugenics. And we do that with dogs anyway. The most important thing for children is to learn. Disagree. There are no savages and civilized people. There are only different cultures. The savage and civilness can easily be considered a spectrum in this regard, then. And because as you can easily say the Inca, Maya, the culture, not the person. You could easily say I'd agree, not strongly, because it can be considered a spectrum. I'm pretty sure there's certain things that I do today that someone in Italy would find very uncivil. And there's some things that people in Japan do that I'd find really messed up. So it would be a spectrum. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not be expected. Strongly agree. When you are troubled, it is best not to think about it, and to keep busy with more cheerful things. So admitting to yourself that you have a mental issue is not a good idea. Admitting to yourself and others that you have a mental issue is not a good idea. And just keeping busy with your no, strongly disagree with that. Get help. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated. Well, not fully, but I mean, I can easily say not exactly fully, isn't to say there's going to be certain nuances that they would not be able to get exactly being their first time, being the first one in here. What's good for most successful corporations is always ultimately the good for us all. Strongly disagree with that. That's how you get monopolies. No broadcasting institution, however, independent in its content should receive public funding. Strongly disagree. I understand that certain news stations have sponsors and whatnot, and they also get donations for certain things like charities and whatnot, and they should be able to. I mean, you can easily say KACS does the prayer-a-thon thing, the fundraiser on over the radio. By this logic, they would never be able to do that, and it's just given to them by sponsors. And how do you see the wider society? Our civil liberties are being expressly curbed in the name of counterterrorism. I'd agree, not strongly. The TSA, airport security, patting down everyone, and it does get in the way. A significant advantage of a one-party disagree avoids all the arguments and delays. Those arguments that delay progress can actually make it so that any idea can be improved upon. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly disagree. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I'd agree it's an option, but it should be a last resort. As in, to say it this way, killing off serial killers should be something that should be done, yes, but we don't need to be like Oprah Winfrey, that just handing those things out like candy. It is in a civilized society, one must always have people around to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. There's hierarchy in everything, yes. But you do need to question who the people in hierarchy would be. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Strongly disagree. In criminal justice, I can't human right now. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Disagree. The two can go hand in hand. It is a waste of time to try rehabilitating some criminals. Some, not all. Yes, they've done really terrible things in asylums, but today's anything, the business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. The business person makes it so that the country itself is going, and the manufacturer are making it so that this country can stay alive. The writer and the artist makes it so that the culture stays alive. So I disagree. They should be able to help. All four of them should work hand in hand. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty used to be homemakers. That's okay. I'll skip that for now. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources, GMOs, the resources of developing countries. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. An important aspect, but it's not the first I'd think of. I disagree with the mothers in a career, multinational. Yeah, I can easily go with Nestle in the water. Next. If you got through that okay, you'll find the proposition on religion a breeze. Astrology, he accurately explains many things. Astrology, like predicting the future by looking at the stars. Not exactly. Many things, but it won't tell me the future. I'm not going to be able to go to some gypsy and be able to say that I'm going to be rich if I invest. You cannot be moral without being religious. Do you hold the morality to yourself? Or is it just a rule you follow because that's what your pastor says? Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Personally, kinda, sorta, yeah. I mean, yes, I do understand that some people are naturally unlucky. Would I get struck by lightning tomorrow if I agree with this? Or disagree with this? Am I going to get airdropped $10 million if I agree or disagree? That would be lucky or unlucky. I'd agree. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I'd agree. To some extent. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about here. Finally, okay. Is usually immoral. Yes, STDs. Same-sex couple in a stable, long relationship should not be excluded from child adoption. Depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. What goes on in the private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Absolutely. If I don't need to know what my parents are doing, if I don't know what mom and dad is doing right now in the bedroom, neither does the government. No one can feel naturally homosexual. By this logic, puberty. You know what you're surrounded with by puberty. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Oh my word. It's taboo. I mean, it's something that we don't always talk about, but it's something that... It's not something that everyone talks about. It's kind of a taboo subject. Anyway. Boy. Because it's... you and your nether regions. I'd say to some extent, yeah. Alright. Now, with that trauma out of the way... oh my word. Where do I stand? About your political compass. In the introduction, we explain that in the inadequacies of the traditional left-right line, if we recognize that this is essentially an economic line, it's fine as far as it goes. We can show, for example, Stalin, Mao, Zedong, and Pol Pot, with their commitment to a totally controlled economy on the hard left. Socialism, it's like Mahatma Gandhi and Robert Mugabe would occupy a less extreme leftist position. Margaret Thatcher would be well over the right, but further right. It still would be somewhat like ultimate free marketeer, like General Pinochet. That deals with economics, but the social dilemma is also important in politics. That's the one, and that the mere left-right scale doesn't adequately address, so we've added one, ranging in position from extreme authoritarian to extreme libertarianism. Like, authoritarian is going to say, should the government be controlling everything, or should they not? Both in social dimension are important factors of a proper political analysis. By adding the social dimensions, you can show that Stalin was an authoritarian leftist, i.e. the state is more important than the individual, and that Gandhi believed in the supreme value of each individual is a liberal leftist, while the former involves state-imposed arbitrary collectivism. Extreme top left on the extreme bottom left is voluntary collectivism at regional level with no state involvement. You can also put Pinochet, who was prepared to sanction mass killing for the sake of the free market, on the far right, as well as the hardcore authoritarian. On the non-socialist side, it's clear that despite... okay, here we go. Yep, Hitler would be hardcore. Hitler and Stalin are both authoritarian. Definitely. The usual understanding of anarchism as a left-wing ideology does not take into account the neoliberal anarchism championed by the likes of Ayn Rand, Milton and Friedman, and American Libertarian Party, which couples social Darwinism, Darwin right-wing economic and liberal position on most social issues. Often their libertarian impulses stops short of opposition to strong law and order positions and are more economic substance, i.e. no taxes, so they are not as extremely libertarian as they are extremely right-wing. On the other hand, the classic libertarian collective of anarcho-syndicatism, libertarian socialism belongs to the bottom left-hand corner. In our homepage, we demolish the myth that authoritarianism is necessarily right-wing with the example of Robert Mugabe, Pol Pot, and Stalin. Similarly, Hitler on the economic scale was not an extremely right-winger. Hitler was trying to take over the world, essentially. Stalin threw people that disagreed with him into prison. About neocon and neolibs, your political standing is okay. Free market, neocon. Okay, my political compass is I'm a little to the left and a little to the bottom. Claim your free political compass certificate. Wow. Gee, thanks. I don't think so.